From the Cyber Hub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the Cyber Hub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to another special episode of the Cyber Hub podcast. My name is James Azar. I'm a Chief Information Security Officer and host of the podcast. Typically on a Tuesday morning, on tax day of all days, we would talk about cybersecurity news and the latest stories and their impact on all of us as cybersecurity practitioners. However, being that I'm on vacation, we've pre-recorded all of our content for this week. Yesterday, if you missed our episode, we talked about agentic AI. Today, we're talking about something much, much more personal to all of us, because we're talking about the human side of cybersecurity. And no, not the people side, but the weaponization of the internet for exploitation. That's going to be our topic on today's episode. So I'm going to walk you through a journey. We're going to look at some real life stories and what we can do as human beings, as cybersecurity practitioners, as IT professionals to help deal with all of this. So buckle up. Here we go. So we're going to lean on a lot of expert voices on today's show. Voices like Paul Raffaelli. He's a senior intelligence analyst who's been sounding the alarm on these issues. I follow him on LinkedIn, and I'll have his profile in the show notes for all of you to go follow. If you don't follow Paul, you should. He's talking about the heartbreaking link between what's going on online to teen suicide. We'll also look at what social media platforms are doing or not doing, and why education and resources are key to fighting back, because sometimes life is about more than these dark stories. It's about finding a way forward. So let's go ahead and dig into the human toll. The scale of online sexual exploitation, by the way, is huge. All right. So huge. We're going to talk about the jaw-dropping numbers here from the United Nations Global Child Safety Institute, reporting in 2024, over 300 million kids faced sexual exploitation or abuse online in just 1 year. I mean, these numbers, by the way, mind-boggling for me alone. 300 million, 6 billion people live on planet Earth. If you assume 50% of them are adults, then you assume that 3 billion kids live on this planet. So let's say 50% of our population is under the age of 18. I don't know what that number is. I didn't look it up. I should have if I knew I was going to go on a tangent. But nonetheless, there it is. That's 10%. Human trafficking lures victims with fake job ads on social media. Sextortion, blackmail teens and adults with explicit images, and child sex abuse online, sometimes live stream, hides in some of the darkest corners of the web. This crime thrives on vulnerability, whether it's poverty, loneliness, or just being a kid online. Paul Raffaelli, a leading voice on sextortion, calls it a silent epidemic. In his keynote at the Global Anti-Scam Summit of Americas in 2024, he highlighted how organized groups like the Nigeria-based Yahoo Boys target minors, mostly boys, on platforms like Instagram and Snapchat. They coerce them into sending explicit photos, then extort them for cash. He tracked an 18,000% surge in U.S. cases, from 139 reported cases in 2021 to over 26,000 in 2023. And the stakes? Life or death. Rifle's research links sextortion over 20 teen suicides in the U.S. alone since 2021. This isn't just cybercrime, it's a human crisis. And now we're going to take a look at some real examples, obviously. Here are some stories that hit home for me. Operation Synergia by Interpol, sting in 2023, busted a cybercrime ring on Telegram, recruiting victims with fake job offers. They identified 45 people lured into exploitation across 50 countries. Per the 2024 U.S. State Department Trafficking in Persons report, they were young women promised work only to be trapped. Now, when we look at sextortion, this is where Paul Raffaelli's work hits hard. In a fraudology podcast interview in 2024, he shared the story of a 17-year-old boy from San Jose, California, who took his own life in 2022 after a scammer who was posing as a girl on Instagram coerced him into sending an intimate photo, then demanded payment. The blackmailer had screenshotted his follower list, friends, family, and even threatened to share it. Rifle said this tactic is a standard for the Yahoo boys out of Nigeria who turned sextortion into a ruthless playbook. The teen felt cornered, and the outcome was tragic. One of at least 20 suicides. Raffaelli ties to the scam since 2021. Then there's child sex abuse online. The We Protect Global Alliance reported in 2024 on an Australian police uncovering sadistic groups coercing kids as young as 12 into self-harm or even worse actions than that, live streaming for predators entertainment. NCMEC logged over 36 million exploitation reports in 2023. That's up from 29 million in 2021. Raffaelli in a May 2024 RNZ interview warned these crimes often start on platforms kids trust, like Snapchat, where disappearing messages give a false sense of safety. These aren't outliers. They're just the tip of the iceberg. So what are platforms doing about this? That's a great question. Let's get into social media being the ground zero for these crimes. And platforms are responding in an unsatisfactory way. That's my personal opinion. Meta, which is behind Facebook and Instagram, removing 11.6 million pieces of harmful content in just Q3 of 2024 using AI per their transparency report, and works with the NCMEC to flag predators. After Raphael's push at 2024 Anti-Scam Summit, Meta classified the Yahoo Boys as a dangerous organization, axing their 63,000 accounts. Snapchat, for their end, added teen safety features like blocking suspicious contacts, following Raffaelli's direct recommendation. TikTok's tightened age rules and the UK's 2024 Online Safety Act is forcing faster takedowns. Sextortion reports spiked 300% from 2021 to 2023 per the Internet Watch Foundation. But Raffaelli's blunt about the gaps in his Guardian interview about Meta, which rescinded a job offer he had in May of 2024 for criticizing Instagram's lax protections. He said platform like Instagram make it too easy for scammers. Yeah, this is the one that got me. So here's a guy, he's a leading voice dedicated to doing this, an asset to your platform to help protect people you sell for money. Remember, when you're on a free platform, you're the product. So when you're the product and your product dies, you no longer have a customer. You no longer have a product to sell to advertisers. And yes, you would say that they were be there and it should be about more than capitalism. There should be a humanity aspect to it. It should be, but I'm trying to speak their language, not ours. Public follower list let blackmailers target victims' loved one, and encrypted DMs shield predators from scrutiny. He's called out Meta for not acting fast enough on the Yahoo Boys open how-to guides on Facebook, despite 2 years to deplatform them. The NCMEC's 36 million reports showed the problems outpacing solutions, and encrypted apps like Telegram remain a blind spot. Even WhatsApp is that too, and that's owned by Meta. More resources are critical, but let's talk a little bit about what we can do, because it's not all doom and gloom. Let's talk about some education and transformation that we need. Resources are stretched thin. Few people like Paul are actually doing this. Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, identified 2,621 child victims in 2023 per their FY 2023 report. Let's not forget that Homeland Security and Customs and Border Control lost nearly 500,000 kids who were part of the illegal immigration during President Biden's administration, which are now slowly being found and returned to their parents or taken out of these rings that they're in. And they're drowning in cases, folks. Paul, in his third Thursday talk with Noble in October 2024, urged financial institutions to flag sextortion payments, often gift cards or crypto, but law enforcement needs more funding to keep up. NGO like Polaris push for better hotlines, yet they're underfunded too. Education's the game changer, especially in schools. In a YouTube talk by Paul, protecting kids from sextortion, he stresses teaching kids as young as 8 to spot grooming, like flirty chats that turn aggressive. The UN's Child Online Safety Protection Initiative backs this, and the MCMEC's NetSmarts offers tools, but it's not universal. Parents need to step up too. Paul says open, shame-free talks about online risks can save lives, echoing this plea after a friend's suicide sparked his mission. This is a transformation moment. The internet's not neutral. It is a battlefield, as if you've watched this show every single day, you would know. Paul has seen it drive kids to despair, like the young San Jose teen, or dozens he's tracked to paid scammers only to spiral deeper. We need a cultural shift to protect, not just react. Now, here's the thing. Before I go just into our final section here and wrap up, I'll say this. As a parent, it is our responsibility to teach our kids, not the schools, not our neighbors. It's our responsibility as parents. These conversations are tough. They're never easy. You think your teenagers don't listen. And during Passover on the Seder, we have the story of the four, the wise, the four kids that could ask a question, right? The wise, the evil, the innocent, and the one who didn't know how to ask. And in all four of those, we talk about the differences in how they ask for questions and what they mean about Passover. And this is even more when I think about this, as to the fact that we need to be wise with our teenagers. And these are path in life. And typically when this happens is when kids are at their evil stage, right? They're not evil internally. They're rebelling. Their hormones are going crazy. They're obviously going through a lot of pressure. And there is a lot of pressure online. If you imagine what we went through a decade, 2 or 3 ago, or even 5 decades ago for some of y'all, what they're going through today is coming from every single corner. Long distance relationships are now a thing. Fake online relationships are a thing. The idea of human interaction is really, really awkward for some teens. A lot of stuff starts online and not in person. And so the trust in online is there. And unfortunately, it's there to stay. So as parents, it's our duty to sit down with our kids going back. When we get them as teenagers, they're at their evil stage. But when they're really, really young, they don't know how to ask. Then they're naive. We all love that age. My little guy, naive. It's awesome, but he's naive. Then comes the evil, right? Once they hit teenage years. And then hopefully from all of that, you've built them strong enough to be wise, to understand. And while they're going through that teen years, it is our role to help them understand. And so let's talk a little bit about some call to action here, stuff that we can do together to make this really, really better. One, let's not just be reactive, but let's be proactive in addressing this, because human lives are on the line. Paul's research has really touched me deeply and profoundly to dedicate a whole episode for this. Today, we face the human cost head on: trafficking, sextortion, child abuse online, amplified by voices like Paul. 17-year-old suicide to millions of exploited kids. This is urgent. Platforms are stepping up, unsatisfactory in my opinion, but it's not enough without resources and education. In your school boards, there should be a topic that we talk to kids about. It should be something that's brought up to school boards. Online, romance scams, sextortion, the ability to be able to report these things to someone who can help them overcome it, or at least get law enforcement involved to help deal with it. Life is bigger than just these stories. It's about hope through action. We have to do this. Please share this episode. Check out NCMEC Cyber Tip Line or DHS Know to Protect, and work with your school boards. Talk to your kids within your communities, at your churches, at your synagogues, at your community centers, at your YMCAs, your gyms, your HOAs, wherever it is. You can print out a whole bunch of information. We'll tag a whole bunch of stuff on our website at cyberhubpodcast.com. You can get it all there. Please consider doing so. This is something that's really increasing in unbelievable pace online. These kids, these children, yes, they may drive, they may be more savvy, but they're still the same 15-year-old we all were once, only they have a whole lot more noise going on in their heads, noise we likely didn't have because of all the social media and the constant amount of content that's pushed in their faces. So please remember that. Most importantly, stay human, stay safe, and most importantly, y'all, stay cyber safe. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Please make sure to subscribe, like, share, comment, and let me know more at cyberhubpodcast.com. We'll be back tomorrow with a whole another episode. I can't wait for y'all to check it out. Till then, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.